Wanted to talk a little bit about what Nick Saban had to say earlier this week about this coming up matchup with the Georgia Bulldogs. Dean Legge from Dog Post. Want to make sure you're going over to the website. Make sure you're clicking and signing up for the newsletter below. It doesn't cost you anything. It gets you some really good quality content in your inbox. You try to change things up when you play a team twice. That's what Nick had to say. And it's not like this is common in college football. Off the top of my head, there have been some SEC championship games where, excuse me, like Florida and Alabama have played twice in the same season in the late 90s. Obviously, the LSU Alabama game in 2011. You have had LSU Georgia in 2003. Those were all game. Well, the last two are games that Nick was coaching in, and won. So won the second one, I should say. So it's just not common in college football. College basketball, obviously, and almost every other professional sport, you see that. Particularly in the NFL in division play, but one thing that I think is you're going to see from Georgia is a very different look on defense. This is stuff we talk about over on Dog Post all the time. Dogpost.com, DAWGPOST.com. Georgia's not going to give Alabama the same look, and I don't think Bama will give Georgia the same look. Don't get me wrong, but I think Georgia's defense specifically will be very different in this the 2022 matchup of these two teams. I mean, these two teams have played four times since 17. The only time they did not play was in 19 when Georgia played in the championship game, and LSU against LSU, and Alabama wasn't there. But I think you're going to see two things will be different for Georgia. Whether it's enough to win the game, I don't know. But I think number one, schematically, this will be a different look from Georgia than what they showed in December. There will be, I mean, obviously don't know all of the details, but I think schematically it will be a different look and feel. I think you could certainly see more pressure coming from Georgia towards Bryce Young and Alabama. But the thing that's going to be different for Bama is they have Robinson fully healthy, their running back. He played in that game. He did not. He played in the Georgia Bama game in December. He did not have a lot of impact the way he did certainly against Cincinnati. Was that because he was kind of banged up or not? I don't know. Secondly, I think Georgia's in better condition now than they were. I was talking with someone earlier today who would know, and I said, "You really think that you can get back into shape in 3 weeks?" And their response was, "Well, you can get, you can become much more ready to play in a 3 week period." So that was something that Aaron Murray talked about. I can't remember where he said it, but there was some discussion. It might have been on his Sirius XM show. Some discussion from the players on the defensive side of the ball that they had not been uh, conditioned to play kind of the way that they wanted to or needed to against Alabama. That didn't look like it was a problem at all. I mean, the defense played. I think the defense and the offense played the entire game against Michigan, with the exception for the defense of like the last drive against the Wolverines where they scored. So, and Chaz Chambliss was in there and all that stuff. So, I expect those two things to be different. How Nick and Alabama will counteract that, I don't know. We can't know. Stetson Bennett earlier this week, yesterday, said that Georgia's going to be Georgia, Bama's going to be Bama, and the team that executes is going to win. Yeah, that's right. And Georgia's did not execute a month ago in Atlanta, and that is the real question here is how much do you overthink this as a coach? Alabama is there's not going to be anything different for Alabama than they've always done. They are going to rely on Bryce Young to get the ball to explosive receivers. They have a very balanced offense particularly when Robinson can get going. He doesn't always get going, but they have a very balanced offense. They won against Georgia the other in December without really running the ball. So I mean, they ran it, but it was not some crazy, shove it down Georgia's throat thing. They are very balanced. Is it possible that they adjust somehow? Do they try to grind Georgia down? I don't know if you can do that. And the other thing, Kirby said Monday was that they had some blown assignments, just straight up missed plays. So there's a lot in this game that we're just going to see how it goes. I wonder how much you can overthink it. Like you want to adjust and you want to change some stuff, but I don't think you want to be different than who you are. So there's a fine line there for both Nick and Kirby coming into this game, and the stakes are obvious. This is Georgia Alabama. It's a really big game every time they play. That they're playing for the national championship for the second time in 5 years. I mean, I don't think anybody. There's been no other matchup that's been played more often in the national championship game now since the 17 game in Georgia Alabama. That's obviously Georgia Bama in 17. 18 was Alabama Clemson. 19 Clemson and LSU. 20 Alabama and Ohio State, and now 21 Georgia and Alabama. We'll see if that continues over time, but these two teams are going to be seeing each other a lot in the future. This is not, you know, some thing that's not going to happen. I mean, they are going to consistently play one another, whether it's in Atlanta or in the national championship. I think they both are, those two and Ohio State have built a recruiting uh, layer that is better than everybody else in college football, and you're going to see that play out over an extended period of time. Georgia, uh, Georgia last year winning the Peach Bowl, this year Ohio State winning the Rose Bowl, Ohio State in the national championship a year ago. The year before that, Ohio State in the semifinals as Georgia won the Sugar Bowl. Georgia in 2017 wins the Rose Bowl. I can't remember what happened with Ohio State in 17. I think they won the Fiesta Bowl. But the point is, there's not a lot of Cheez-It Bowls. You know what I mean? And that's that's something that we're going to see a lot of from these three teams, and they're going to have to play each other over and over again, and they're going to have to adjust. Yeah, they won the Cotton Bowl. I thought it was the Fiesta, Ohio State, but these teams are going to play one another a lot. We're going to see more and more of Georgia and Alabama really fighting it out with one another. And it's going to really come down to how well can Kirby adjust himself. Um, I think you can make the case that they have the better players coming into this game, but uh, that would be the case coming into the game in December. So how much you change, how much you what's the word, strategize to have your best moments in this critical game. That's going to be what this comes down to. It's one of the most important moments in Georgia football history, and it's one of the most important in Alabama history that they just played one another. Makes it very fascinating in many ways. Again, we don't see this very much. We see, it's in college football. It just doesn't happen very often. Championship games have allowed for that, but in national championship games, I think the only time we've seen this in the last sort of 30 years is Alabama and LSU in 2011, and Alabama went from being a 9-6 overtime loser to being a 21-0 uh, champion champion of the world over LSU in the Superdome. So there are going to be important moments here as we get up ready for this game. I appreciate everybody watching. I want to make sure y'all are still going to Dog Post. You need to sign up for the newsletter. It's free. We don't bomb your email every single day, but we send it out when things are important. We'll see you over the website. Thanks for signing up, dogpost.com.